All right, so yeah, okay, funny. I was gonna start this video, and then I wound up spiraling off into a diatribe and wound up making that into its own video. Anyway, um, so again, I wanted to return. Like I never leave the basics. I always return to the basics, and I'm constantly trying to find new ways to explain the basics to people and make it important to to budding artists because what people need the most. Um, Not necessarily what I want to work on, but I think if I'm ever going to be able to, in clear conscience, work on the advanced stuff or show people the advanced stuff, I need to get them past that point of incompetence. Like, look, it's okay to be incompetent. Look, it's like, oh my god, it's like I am calling some of my viewers incompetent. Let me put it this way: I'm good at a few things. I'm good at programming. I'm good at drawing. I'm moderately good at beatboxing. I can stay on a skateboard. I can't do much else. I mean, I can cook. I can cook pretty well, but outside of that, I can't do anything else. I cannot ride a unicycle. I suck at riding a unicycle. I cannot play the violin. I cannot play the piano. I am incompetent at these things. Right? So it's okay to recognize your incompetence at a thing. You're good at the things you're good at and nothing else. All right? So if you want to get good at a thing, you have to first recognize the fact that you are incompetent, and you may not even know to what level you're incompetent. You're at that level 1. Remember the unconscious incompetence, right? So the thing is that you don't know what you're bad at yet. You don't know in what ways you're bad at something, and you don't know what it means to be good at that thing, or what is good. You can't even identify what does it mean to be good at a thing. So anyway, I should put in the annotation that says skip intro as always. So anyway, right, I'm doing this animation stuff. The whole point of this video was to show people how to break through that incompetence with animation, because it's my belief that you always need brute force to get through incompetence, right? You need a lot of people always say you need lots of practice. Well, animation is a great way to practice something. So in this case, this is something where I'm just taking 3 segments like a snowman, and I'm just making it, bend down towards the camera through an arc. That's all it is. And trying to get this optical illusion. Right? So I think that animation is an extremely powerful tool. It's like an exercise machine for working out problems of perspective. So I think maybe one of the problems is that, like, I see a lot of times where one of the first things that they give you in animation is a bouncing ball, and they make the ball bounce up and down. I don't think that's as good as, say, maybe what we should do, what animation instructors should do, is, yeah, give the people the bouncing ball exercise. Sure, that's fine. Okay. But also, make that bouncing ball 3-dimensional. So we create a room, 3-dimensional room. And yeah, we'll start the ball off above this point in space. I'm going to start the ball up here. I'm going to make it head off in this direction. So that means that on the next frame, here, I'm going to turn on my light table just so you can see what's going on. So on the next frame, I'll have it travel here. So I'm not going, one frame, then another frame, then another frame. I'm going to make it so that, I guess I'm going to have it bounce once and fly up to about here. So that's where it is in space. Now I got to work out the part where it falls and hits. So I'm going to have it maybe hit around here. This will be the impact point. Actually, I'm going to flatten out the ball, so squish it down. Great. And you can see that, like, whenever something is bouncing, it doesn't lose any of its horizontal velocity. It loses none of its lateral velocity unless the ball has a spin on it. In this case, the ball doesn't have a spin. It will pick up a spin from this hit, though, meaning that when the ball strikes the ground is traveling this way. The ground relative to the ball, or the ball relative to the ground, is going that way. So that means that the ball will pick up a spin like that. It's going to pick up a spin going in this direction. It's going to start rolling this way. Wham, it flies up. And maybe... Okay, so I'm going to do the in-between process. So the in-betweening process is just a process, a simple subdivision. So in between, this is where it is. This is the time interval. So that's the midpoint. Then we strike here, throw in another in between. We go in between here. Right. Maybe I'll throw in one more. And here I think I'll... So now I'm just working out all the spacing. Yeah, feeling all right. Maybe... And this is the thing, is that you have to flip the animation in order to really feel. Right? If it doesn't feel right, then you're going to have to delete that frame and do it again. And again, one of the reasons why I like dealing with animation is that you're making many, many frames of animation. And so this is one of the best ways to get people to, stop trying to get nice, pretty lines, like nice line quality and lots of fine detail. It makes people into better sketch artists. Actually, in this case, the ball is kind of like smashing right into a corner. So it's almost like if we had a glass surface here. That's the cross-sectional part. Whenever you take someone's face and you stick them right up against a bit of glass and you can see like their face going like right up it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just drawing this smash up point right here. I don't know if they have a word for that, but I'm smooshing the ball up against that glass, like boobs against a glass table, right there. And then it's a very mushy ball too, like taking a breast implant and throwing it. That is a really bouncy breast implant. And then here. And so, I'm having to create this thing as a three-dimensional optical illusion. Now, if I remember correctly, I gave it a bit of a spin. So I'm assuming that there's a spin now. The ball's spinning down this way. So that means that when it hits the corner with this spin going down like that, it's going to ride upwards. So this is the other thing that I love about animation, is that when you do animation, you can see how that spin is going to be what carries the ball. The ball is now riding upwards. That's like I just gave it like a really extreme spin. And I think I'm going to want to make it so it's going to go upwards and maybe travel to about here. Maybe not so high. I'm going to make it so it loses some of its velocity. Yeah. So it's probably lost a lot of its spin. There's not much left. And then we go to the next frame, and I think I'll have it impact maybe around here. So there's kind of this when I animate, there's figuring out where do I want it to go, how does it get there? Where do I want it to go is figuring out, okay, where's the ball, headed towards? But how does it get there is the in-betweens. So in this case, I want the ball to eventually, smack again here. Boom. But the thing is, it's jarring, right? There's no in-between. It's just jumping from here to here. It's getting there instantly. So I have to go in there, throw in an in-between, and then figure out how does it get there? What path does it take? So I got to define an arc. So in this case, this ball is around here. That means the next in-between is going to place the ball around here. And we can see that it's still, there's still too much of a jump between here and here, so I have to throw in another in-between. I'm stretching the ball as well. Bam. And I'm exaggerating the amount of squish. Actually, this case it's not as much squish as before. Boom. And then maybe I'll have it fly up to about here. And then maybe one more where it finally lands there, and I'll have it bounce and roll a bit. So I'm going to make it smaller, going backwards in perspective. So throw an in between. Just trying to get that gravity arc. Maybe I'll move that a little higher. So the thing is that when things bounce, right, you have stuff like this. This is the bounce. So that means that the spacing, you have an acceleration, right? This spacing gets greater and greater because the ball accelerates due to gravity. That's still too much of a jump. Wham, bam, bam. So, yeah, if you're going to do a bouncing ball, then don't just do like a side perspective bouncing ball. Do it in perspective. Like, seriously. I think I'm going to move this guy a bit. Shift it. So that's another thing, right? Is that sometimes instead of just adding frames in, you have to adjust the frames that are already there. Or, yeah, so actually this one, I think I'm going to redraw it just because it's not very well drawn. Right, just get rid of it and redo it. It's better. Yeah. So adding more frames is not always the answer. Sometimes it's just adjustment of the existing frame. In this case, I actually do want another frame. It just seems like it's jumping really, really fast. That little top spin, that top, like once I gave it that forward spin and it kicked up, it really, like, you really feel that, right? So it's a simulation. And you'll know the simulation is right if you're looking at it and all of a sudden you kind of get this weird eerie feeling where it's like, oh man, I actually feel like it's moving and it has weight and I'm gonna have it bang into this wall here. But I do want it to bounce up to about here. Want it to move. Maybe go smooshing into the wall here. Or actually, it's not going to smoosh it. It's going to like just lightly tap the wall. But boom, boom. Tap the wall. And I'm going to keep it on the same diagonal trajectory. Doesn't accelerate. It has to travel by the same amount each time. So up in the air. Actually, whoops. It's lost a lot of its lateral velocity after the tap. After it tapped the wall. So you look at the spacing between the. These are the ground, the lateral. This is the lateral movement. So actually, I'm going to move that over a bit. Yeah, now you can really see the spacing. So, and when I do my light tables, I just like 1 frame forward, 1 frame back, and then flip the thing. Always be flipping. So in this case, it's gonna strike the wall when it's at the ground position. That's actually moving too far again, so gotta be constantly vigilant. So in this case, it's up in the air just a little bit. In this case, I want to actually make it lose some of its velocity. So now I'm making the circles overlap just because it's not traveling as fast. I wanted it to roll closer though. And I think I can just straight ahead some of this. Boom. Okay, so now it needs the in-betweens. So you know where it's going. Got to figure out how it gets there. And if I need to slow it down more, then I just add more frames. Playing a little fast, but I can either slow down the animation or I can just add more in-betweens. But you get the idea. Yeah, I could just go into my Windows, animation, remote control panel. This is the software I'm using is TVP Animation Pro or TV Paint. 2D bitmap based drawing software, and I gotta say it's been really, really good for I learned to draw on this software, and I learned a lot through doing animation. I don't love doing animation as a actually no, I love doing animation. I don't do it very often just because it's so laborious and it always turns me into like a little dry. I become like a dry husk mummy every time I do animation because it just takes so much out of you, and you spend like weeks on this stuff, and no, I love it. You know, I love working on it, but it's just it takes too long, and I don't make any money when I do it. So it just turns me a little dry husk mummy when I'm working on this stuff. But yeah, like this is I think what people should do for their first exercise is really Don't just draw a bouncing ball and make it go up and down. Make it feel real. Get that illusion of physics. You need that physical simulation. And, that's the first step. And the thing is that when you get, I shouldn't say get better in animation, but I should say that as you do more and more animation, you'll start to care less and less about how nice your lines are. And more, the thing that you start to care more about is the sizing of things, that spatial juxtaposition, how they move. You want to draw how they move, not how they look. You start to care a lot more about the spatial aspect. So, and it will force you to streamline. It will force you to streamline your process and eliminate unnecessary activities. Yeah, let's do some more. So, another one. Oops. I like that one. That one turned out good. All right, so right. I'll put that thing back up to 24. So, what else can we do? Yeah, so earlier I had the torso that was leaning forward. Yeah, why don't we do that, right? So this is a nice, simple exercise as well. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. It just means that when something is simple, it means you have one job. One job, and remember what I said about competence. Don't assume that you're good at the simple stuff. Always go into something, with no expectations. Not necessarily you got to go into everything thinking you're bad at it, but go into it with no expectations of how good it's going to be. Just go into it saying, well, let's see how good I am at this thing, and then let's work from there. So I'm just going to create the blob where it's sitting on the ground, and then I'm going to think, all right, so let's say we have our person leaning back, head rocking forward. So I'm going to draw the head here, and then so that. Their head's now rocking forward. And let's rock this back. So, draw a little chub roll there. So it's kind of like it's like a snowman. And then another in between. So once again, I'll turn on my light table. My light table is just configured for 1 frame back, 1 frame forward. So it shows the prior and it shows the past and the future by 1 frame. And right, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to keep the head in one spot actually. But I'm going to make it so that now the head is looking upwards. And we're just going to take this midsections and move it. I'm going to really draw the connection here. Yeah. Rock that right out. And then you can really start to pay attention to things like that overlap. See how that. Boop, 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 boop. Right? You can. Work it, work it, work it, work it, work it, work it. Man, I can almost imagine just got to take the hands, the hands back here, right, either side of the head. little fists, just little fists. I can fuzz my eyes out on this thing, right? I explain how you have to defocus your eyes just so you can figure out what's the you can use your peripheral. You need to use peripheral vision, or I should say, you can't rely on your visual on the fovea, your central vision, because the central vision just deals with detail. It doesn't deal with perspective. Actually, I need to make those elbows drop low. Kind of low into the side. Let's see. So I mean, if I flip this back, oh, I can already tell that elbow's too low. And then I got to figure out the cross contour. So this arm kind of comes. So that's the thing. When you do it, your elbows are actually moving slightly forward. So these cross contours are going to tell me, right? It means that if I have a tube, a cylinder, like this, okay, then if I do this with the cross contour, it means that this side here is facing towards us. If I reverse that, and I do this instead, right? Now this side is facing towards us. Same silhouette. Same silhouette. But the cross contour is what changes the flip. What flips it around. And you just got to do lots and lots of this stuff. Like this is why I like animations, because animation, because you have to deal with many frames, you're already doing lots of it. It's part of it. So I mean, this is why I love working with animation software. I think Krita has animation capability, but I just like being able to flip the animation. Okay, right. So I mean, so I guess I'll move those fists in. Yeah, I got to move those fists in a bit. And you start to learn, because when I do lots and lots of this, lots and lots of animation, many frames, I've drawn the thing over and over again from different angles, as is par for the course when you do animation, like a chicken flap. You learn a shorthand. You learn how to draw things with fewer lines, because you eliminate all the unnecessary detail. It's like, how about like that? Right. So right. So something like that, right? Which is just a simple, three-piece torso movement. Right. You start to look at it and you see, oh, that's what that guy's doing. And you draw it. It's actually a lot of fun. And then what comes next is this is just a 2-frame snap, 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 which looks good on its own, but now we work in the in-between. In which case, I'm going to move that head forward. So now it's like it shoves forward. And then rocks back. This is what I said, right? So the in-between is the how you get there. Now it's really get those shoulders up. Gonna have to go soon. Keep the hands inward. See? Let me turn off the light table so I can just that's what it takes, right? Like this is how you get better at. This is one way to like a really really fast way to get better at sketching. Anyway, gotta go. I will, because I gotta be somewhere. I'll see you all later.